大家好，我的名字是 Emily，我爱台湾，我要所有台湾人认识耶稣。So sorry for any of those who might speak Chinese in this class, but what I just said for those that don't is hello everyone, my name is Emily. I love Taiwan and I want all Taiwanese people to know Jesus. And with that being said, the people group that I want to focus on today is the Hakka people in Taiwan. The Hakka people are one of the largest unreached people groups in Taiwan. They're at about 4.6 million, and um, and they have quite a few barriers to the gospel getting to them. One of them is language. The Hakka language is very difficult. It's much more complex than the main language in Taiwan, which is Mandarin Chinese. And while a lot of Hakka most likely know and can speak Mandarin Chinese, their heart language is in Hakka, and so it just makes communicating the gospel to them just a little bit more difficult. Another barrier to the gospel is their family. So one of the main religious practices in Taiwan is ancestor worship. So it's passed down, and so when people have kids, they train them how to worship their ancestors, and that way, whenever the parents die, the kids kind of take over and they take care of the parents in the afterlife. And so when we introduce the gospel, especially to young adults or college students, and they they have to really consider whether they want to almost abandon their family, because that's what their family will make it seem like. Their family will say, "Oh, you don't want to worship me, you don't want to take care of me in the afterlife, and so you don't care about me." So that's a really big barrier to the gospel amongst Hakka people, um, and they're very close knit, very community oriented, and so it's really hard to be an outsider and to come in with Christianity and with the gospel with outside beliefs, because a lot of this is true for most people in Taiwan, but whenever you preach the gospel to Taiwanese people in general, they are quick to say, "Oh, that's nice for you, but that's not necessarily for me. You can go and do what you want to do with what you want to worship, but I'm gonna do what I want to do." And so it's really hard to get the gospel to Taiwanese people, because they're so open to Christianity, but it's almost like a not fake, but it's just this openness that isn't really wanting to embrace it. It's just wanting people to do what they want to do, and letting people have the freedom to do what they want to do. Um, but with that being said, some of the bridges to the gospel, one of them is that they really seek peace. They are people that are constantly doing what they can in order to find peace, whether that's with their ancestors or with the certain idols that they worship. They are on a constant search for peace. And I think that the gospel offers a really, it obviously offers peace. It offers ultimate peace with Christ, but it also can offer peace with relationships and just peace in your life. And so I think that is a really unique bridge to the gospel, and it's something that can be emphasized in order to help people to see what Christianity really is and what it offers. And I think another thing that needs to be considered is their worldview. And I think that the Taiwanese people are, in general, and specifically with the Hakka people, they are very fear power oriented, and there's there's lots of there's even a holiday in Taiwan that's called Ghost Month, and it's all about the spiritual world and how these spirits, these angry spirits, get let out of Hades for a month, and they have to be appeased to so that way your family doesn't get tormented by them. And there's different ways that you can appease them, but there's just this emphasis on the spiritual world um, that I think is really interesting and important to think about. And so they have that fear power worldview, and the gospel can come in there, and the gospel can um, give them peace about all of that fear. The gospel um, can show them that Christ has power over the spirit world, and we don't have to fear spirits coming in and tormenting us, because ultimately Christ has defeated all of the evil in the world, and we can put our trust in Him. And I think they are also they're a mixture between fear, power, and honor, shame. And I think that kind of goes back to what they believe about their family. I think it would be considered shameful for, especially the oldest son in a family, to abandon ancestor worship and embrace Christianity, because that's showing that they don't care about the family, that they don't want the family's good in the afterlife. And so that brings shame onto the family. And so I think that there's lots of different barriers to the gospel, and their worldview is a big part of that. And so I think um, there's lots of hurdles to jump through when it comes to preaching the gospel to the Hakka in Taiwan. But I think they are they're very open, they are receptive, they're never harsh towards Christianity. And so I think that there's a unique opportunity in Taiwan, especially amongst the Hakka people, for them to embrace Christianity. Thank you, everyone.